Welcome back to Tipton Bros. Today, we'll be discussing the throwing weapon known as the Chakram. Origin, usage, and effectiveness in combat will be covered. Before we begin, I must disclose that I am no expert and never claim to be. Now, let's get into it. To better understand the history of this traditional Indian blade, we must initially deconstruct the word itself. Chakram, the base of which is chakra. Translated directly from Sanskrit to English, literally means circle, round, or wheel, an appropriate label for such an instrument. This throwing ring first appears in the Indian epic poems Ramayana and Mahabharata during the 5th century BCE, demonstrating the chakram's strong roots in Hinduism. Identified as the Sudarshan chakra, this spinning disc is wielded by the deity Vishnu upon his index finger of the rear right hand. A divine tool, known universally as the Wheel of Auspicious Vision. Quote, "It was also the prime weapon of Lord Krishna. The discus has 108 serrated edges. It is one of the most potent weapons mentioned in the Hindu scriptures, and is nearly inexorable." Despite the chakram arising by way of Hinduism, the metal ring has become synonymous with Sikhism. More specifically, the Niang or Sikh warriors, who carried them in abundance. The chakram would be stacked and interwoven atop their conical turban, creating a tiered visual. The Sikh would also sling the metal discs around their neck, shoulders, and forearms. Examples of a smaller circumference are called chakri and are worn on the wrist. The weapon itself is merely a steel or brass ring, with a sharpened outer edge and blunt inner edge as not to cut the user. Size varied, but generally fell between 5 to 12 inches in diameter. Beyond its physical form, throwing technique is another fascinating aspect of the chakram. The circular blade could be thrown backhand like a frisbee, overhand, which oriented the chakram vertically and reduced the risk of striking a comrade during windup, or, famously, by a flick of the wrist utilizing an outstretched index finger. This method was again popularized by Sikhs. Twirling the ring several times around a phalange to gain momentum, a Sikh warrior could snap his wrist and deliver a chakram on a straight line with fatal results. Portuguese writer Duarte Barbosa documented the weapon within the Delhi Sultanate during a visit in 1516. He states, "They have some steel wheels, which they call chakarani, 2 fingers broad, sharp outside like knives, and without edge inside. And the surface of these is of the size of a small plate, and they carry 7 or 8 of these each, put on the left arm, and they take one and put it on the finger of the right hand, and make it spin round many times, and so they hurl it at their enemies. And if they hit anyone, on the arm, or leg, or neck, it cuts through all. And with these, they carry on much fighting, and are very dexterous with them." Domestic literature surrounding the chakram is exceedingly sparse, so brief European accounts are unfortunately the safest source available. For this reason, you will often see the chakram referred to as a war quoit in English. Barbosa merely grazes the topic of wounding capability, which was my primary question. Could the chakram, given that it is properly thrown, inflict a mortal wound? I believe the answer is unequivocally yes. Video evidence, which has been linked in the description, displays the chakram being hurled at a stalk of sugarcane, roughly 2 inches in diameter. The ring sweeps through the material easily and severs the stalk in half. An uncovered limb or neck of an enemy combatant would receive a deep and likely fatal laceration from the very same throw. The chakram is certainly a ranged weapon, but is not limited by distance and could be applied in hand-to-hand combat, becoming a vicious slashing device if necessary. I will attempt to cover more topics originating from the Indian subcontinent in the future, as they are sorely neglected and regularly misunderstood. I hope you have enjoyed today's brief overview of the chakram. We are a small channel, so a like is greatly appreciated, and recommendations are always welcome. Again, I am no expert and never claim to be. Until next time on Tipton Bros.